You closed the deal.
Right,
You
like,
solved the problem.
Solve the problem.
When you're hiring account managers, as you look at your team, as you think about account management, are there certain skills that you look for?
Really trying to defer as much decision-making power and authority to them.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Account Management, a tactical guide to success. You got your host here, Fred Fuller, and on the other side of the table is the man who thinks that polyester is grossly underutilized, John Brown.
I am here to represent for polyester. It's my favorite fabric. Cool in the winter and hot in the summer. Those are qualities I like. It's the best. You might remember this. Do you remember the Navy uniforms? A lot of them were made out of polyester. Really fantastically uncomfortable.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah. It was like, it felt like it was made by the government itself.
When I got out of the military, I made the mistake of getting rid of kind of like everything. I have one little keepsake. I'm glad I have that one. And I regret getting rid of like the dress uniform.
Yeah,
right?
the uniforms.
They don't take any,
whatever.
whatever.
Right.
But it's funny when I think about them because I'm like, I couldn't get one of those things on a single leg right now. I was...
Yeah. Right. Why would you...
18 years old and, I'm fit.
29-inch waist. Right. Not happening anymore. Not a thing.
And even then you're like, man, I think I might be pudgy. Anyway.
Polyester won't help that situation either.
It won't.
No, it doesn't stretch that much.
Do you refer to them as the sisters, Polly and Esther?
Oh.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay.
Let's talk about
let's
talk about account management.
Okay, all right. What are we going to talk about today, John?
Well, Fred, I'm super excited. We're going to talk the topic at hand that we're going to talk about is account management leadership. Now, normally we kind of march through a series of points, but we're going to just freestyle a little bit and do it more as questions of our fantastic guest, the amazing Brooke Feldman.
Brooke Feldman, how are you?
I'm doing great.
You doing good?
Glad to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Thank you for joining us. Did you how did you find the traffic? Did you have to come across the Atlanta melee?
It was a little bit of traffic. I am generally an ITP girl, so it was an adventure to come out. I made it.
For those of you who don't know Atlanta geography, ITP refers to inside the perimeter, which is like sort of, are you a person who stays inside the perimeter or are you a person who goes on the outside? Are
you a person who likes traffic?
Yeah, do you like traffic or not? Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you making the drive. And just for what it's worth, I've asked Devin multiple times to move the studio and he refuses to do it.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's Devin's fault.
Well,
he's a bad egg.
Let's work on that.
Bad apple.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
He's a bad piece of produce.
Introduce our guest, Fred.
Okay, no, I thought you already did. Brooke Feldman. Brooke Feldman is the SVP of Client Success and Operations at Arrive. Thank you for joining us, Brooke. Would you mind taking a few minutes and talking a little bit about your role and kind of what you do and Arrive? I think probably a lot of people haven't heard of Arrive. Just give us just a minute or two on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arrive is a global technology company that does mobility for cities. So our mission is together making cities more livable. So that's what our products do and what our company does. Most of the consumers out there in North America are probably most familiar with the brand Park Mobile because that is our product here in North America. So probably a little more familiar with that than Arrive. And my role at Arrive is to handle account management, client success, everything post-sale. So post-sale and the client life cycle. When we say making cities more livable, it's my job to lead the team that partners with clients to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a fascinating space, right? We think about how much that's changed over time. We're going from just cash only, right?
Yeah, a guy with a cigar box full of ones.
Yeah, if there's a great episode on the series Atlanta where there's a guy that's taking money from an empty parking space, right? He just found a vest and he's taking money from it. Right, now, what's funny about it is where they filmed it. It actually happens, and it's about a block from our house.
Nice, classy.
We were like, wait, that's.
Do you do that in your driveway?
You can't tell it's me.
Oh, okay.
On the video,
right, you put on a disguise.
Right? He cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah, So let's get back to Brooke.
I'm sure many of our listeners, if you're in the U.S., have actually heard of fortunately, have heard of the Park Mobile brand. When I talk to people all the time, they definitely have heard of it, particularly in certain geographies like Washington, D.C. and New Jersey, and everybody uses it. I mean, it's a phenomenal product, right? Once you pay for your parking with an app versus doing it, cigar box or all the other million ways of doing it, it's like, why would we ever go back to anything else? And then when you park in a place that doesn't have an easy way to do it like that, you're like, oh, come on. So it's just a great product.
Yeah, no, it's a great product, great solution. So, and how long have you been there?
This will be 11 years.
Oh, wow.
11 years, and it's wild because I would have never expected to be anywhere 11 years starting out, but it's been such a fun ride, and as you mentioned, the landscape is changing so quickly. So I feel like maybe I've worked at 5 different companies within this time in the 11 years. I mean, going from when Park Mobile first started was really like just a payment method that replaced having to use cash or a credit card. It's like just a payment method, a better payment method, but a payment method. And then, fast forward today, there's like tons of like data and decision making that goes into the product and products for cities to help them like manage the mobility landscape. Now we moved from just having parking to also being in like B2B fleets for like, large businesses when we think of like pickup and drop off loading zones, doing transit now. So it's 11 years, but it feels like each of those were spent in different seasons of the company.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's quite different. Having done startups and different, having a multitude of experiences, you can be someplace not very long, and it can feel like 3, 4, 5 different jobs,
a small company,
right?
it feels like totally.
Well, that's interesting. So 11 years. Is it safe to assume that you went from being an individual contributor to the role that you have now?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so in that, I didn't know she could have been 11 years a senior person, right? Like,
she could have been born a SVP.
I don't. Now there's so many things. So, so would you individual contributor, then you move into managing a team, and in that transition, like was that transition difficult? Were there some lessons learned? How did you find that?
Certainly lessons learned. I think my approach to account management was always to be kind of the mini CEO of my accounts. Mm-hmm. So, having ownership over those accounts, and you're doing all the execution. So you're like in the room, you're making the impact, you're making the decisions and negotiations. And I think moving from managing in that way, very hands-on, to kind of like retiring as CEO and like moving to a seat on the board is kind of what it felt like. So no longer am I the one who should be kind of like leading those calls, being the person in the room, closing the deal, getting the call when there's like a customer crisis. I want to really enable and empower the team to do that from a position that's kind of one step back. So from the lens of execution to really just enablement. How do I set up the team to be able to feel confident when they get the escalation call, or to be able to negotiate when they're like closing the big deal? And so I think that like a loss of a little bit of like of the direct control, the direct relationship that you've built with clients over time as you hand all of that over to a different person to manage it, I think can be a challenge, but also really rewarding and really exciting to see the next person up coming in and excelling and taking off.
Is that the biggest mindset shift for you? Like is that how you'd characterize like how you had to think about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So had to think about it where if I'm the person that's still in the room to close the deal or still getting the call from the client when things go sideways, then I'm actually not doing a good job.
Yeah.
I haven't, it might feel good to still be that person for
to
a
be
moment.
The hero.
To be the hero.
Oh, sure.
It might feel good for a moment, but actually, that's like a failure of leadership, a failure of enabling your team and passing the baton. So it's a challenge.
And you miss that sometimes. Like you know
a
when
good
when
feeling.
it's a good feeling when you have a win with a client, like you make
Yeah.
the thing happen and your boss comes by and says,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you made that thing happen with the
You
client.
close the deal.
Right,
You
like,
solved the problem.
solve the problem, right.
So to really allow someone else to take that
Right.
on, and be a part of it, but not directly all the time,
Yeah.
is a shift.
Yeah, well, kudos to you, because I think that might be the biggest break point in moving in how far people's careers can actually go. I think there are a tremendous amount of people that have a really hard time because of letting go of that individual contributor like function, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to let it go and be the big thinker and think strategy, but when you actually start doing it, you don't like, is your value really being seen? We were talking about it a moment ago, right? With making signs. Like
Yeah.
we work in a corporate environment where things take time. And so you don't get a lot of immediate gratification or satisfaction.
Right.
You can go into a manufacturing plant where they make signs, and then you can watch them roll off, and you're like, yeah, they produced 10,000 signs today, or whatever that is. You don't get that same sort of satisfaction. And when you move up the food chain, right, when you go up the ladder a little bit, it becomes even a larger amount of time because the things you're working on become more strategic. So they just typically take more time, and I think it's a really difficult transition for a lot of people to make.
Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of executive jobs, in my personal
Yeah.
experience, like if you try to set it up where you're the hero in the situation, like over the long haul, to Brooke's point, like you're gonna fail. I have a sub point question on that one. Now that you're leading a big team of account managers, what do you think is different about managing account managers versus, I don't know, some average employee doing something else? Is there any specialty in your management style you think you have to do because of the nature
Yeah.
of this job?
I think
Pause real quick. You're a little bit far from it, and your voice is a little soft, so I want to make sure we're picking you up.
Yep.
There we go.
Tell me when.
Action.
I think there is a difference, and the main difference is that I believe in kind of like the inverted power structure of an organization. So the person closest to the customer, I want to have like the most decision-making power as possible, right? And so account managers are really particular in that way because they are the closest person to our
Oh, that's a
customer.
great answer, yeah.
So I think for me, that is a difference in how I would manage an account manager versus any other person, is like knowing that they're the voice of the customer and empowering them, as I said earlier, because of their proximity to the customer, to be the mini CEO.
Yeah.
So really trying to defer as much decision-making power and authority to them, who has the relationship and is hearing firsthand what cities are experiencing, how cities are telling us, Arrive, help us make cities more livable in this way. So I think that is true. I think in good leadership in general, that you want to push decision-making and power down, but I think account managers in particular, because of the relationship with the customer.
Yeah, that's actually really good insight because like your relationship to a client is kind of a one-to-one if you're an account manager, whereas like, I don't know, if you're like a brand new accountant or developer or something like that, you know, they're like, let's say you're fresh out of college, you wouldn't give them tons of decision-making authority, but here it's different, right? Because, you know, maybe you are really young and you're a junior account manager, but like you own that client no matter what. And so, yeah, you're the mini CEO. So yeah, that's actually pretty good.
The stakes
Pretty
are
good
the
insight.
stakes
Yeah.
are different. That's
Right. Yeah.
That's a really good way of framing it. That's a great answer. I'm thinking about writing another book. So if you were looking for a writing, I'm sorry.
You're out,
I didn't-
John. That's what I heard.
I'm sorry. You
You're
invite
out, I'm in.
smart people on the podcast.
You know what? I'm actually pretty excited about it. We've made it this far, and because Brooke and I know each other already, that I haven't been attacked yet. So we'll call this minute. I don't know what minute we're in, but like I feel pretty good. We made it.
Yeah.
We made it this far, so I'm feeling good about things.
No, it really is. The frame on that is great because the pushing that decision-making power down to the people that are closest to the thing, right? That's a really strong position. You know, when you think about that, and then it has a lot to do with the individuals that you have on the team, right? When you're hiring account managers, as you look at your team, as you think about account management, are there certain skills that you look for, certain backgrounds, certain experiences that lend itself to
How
that
do you
role
hire?
for you?
Yeah. I hire, I think, for character first, for skills second, and I think we can build like industry knowledge and expertise as we go. And the reason is, for account management specifically, I always say that it is a world of gray. So it's almost impossible, I think, to train account managers to be in the room and always have the right answer, because the right answer can be different depending on which client it is, what is the nature of that relationship, because we're dealing with human beings. This isn't a spreadsheet that I can show someone like, here is the correct way that I want this report to look. You know, this is the output I want. And so because of that, I think that it's really important to know the person that you're putting in these rooms and how they think. So if I can hire a person who is very curious, who I know will ask the third, fourth, fifth good question in a meeting with genuine curiosity, if I can hire someone who's optimistic, who is tenacious, who is going to operate with a high level of ownership and emotional IQ, then I think that person, even though I can't be in the room with them and, you know, train them or hire a certain skill set on a resume to guide the decision they'll make in the room when I'm not there, I think if I know those things about their character and how they think and how they make decisions, then I feel confident that we'll usually get a good outcome.
What you're basically saying is you hire for somebody who can build trust first.
Yeah.
And everything else will. Do you worry about, for their resume, do you worry about whether or not they're in the industry you're in?
No. I think I did earlier in my career, and I think that was a mistake that I made, over-indexing on the industry experience or even account management specific experience.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I think account management specific experience is helpful for sure, but because it is a field that you have so much scope, so you're dealing with finance and with product and working cross-functionally all the time, and there's also this huge human element, and there's a financial element and a sales element. I think there's so many backgrounds actually that can be really helpful for account managers. I'm thinking like some of the best people on my team, there's like a collegiate coach, collegiate sports coach.
Yeah.
There's a person that there are people who did come from the industry. There's someone who came from the hospitality industry. They're all over the place, like some of the best people. And I think it's because it's not necessarily like the industry or this particular like skills, but it's, their like life experience and kind of who that's made them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a soft skill thing that you can't always really put your finger on, right?
Yeah.
Like there's these experiences and those backgrounds all come together to do something that sometimes you can clearly identify and say, oh yes, this because of that. Other times I feel like there's an element of like, no, that person knows how to communicate. That person knows.
Well, that person can build trust, and that's kind of hard to quantify. And you when you talk to somebody, you know it when you see it,
right?
But it's hard to articulate like what goes into that exactly.
Yeah.
So like that's the fantastic answer. I had a great account manager work for me once who used to manage a concrete production facility. Like they made concrete blocks. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. Fred, who's an account manager, he used to be right before he took this account management job. He used to be in FP&A, which is like a weird, right? So like,
but it's really
in the spreadsheets all day.
It's really funny though for making that transition, because as an FP&A person, and I think this is probably came through in the interview a long time ago. I supported, I think it was 6 GMs around the globe, and I worked with them to get the forecasting done every month to put in front of the president, who they all reported to, who I reported to as well. And I always treated those guys like my clients. And I think that's when you talk about the difference between account managers and other functions, and we say the stakes are higher, I think that's part of it. If I could have been a jerk and just said, you have to work with me, and I could have been difficult, I didn't have to always accommodate, like, as a guy in Australia, I was the one that got on the phone at 9 o'clock at night to get on the call because I looked at him as my client. He was the GM, and I felt like his priority is selling stuff and being with clients and implementing and closing deals. It's not working on spreadsheets and doing the forecast. So I took it upon myself to make that kind of my burden, right? And so I think it worked for me because I always had that kind of mindset. But you mentioned a characteristic that we actually don't talk a lot about. We talk about it in the form of assume positive intent, but optimism. I love that you call that out.
Yeah. How do you think about that? What are you looking for there?
I am looking for someone who has a growth mindset and assumes positive intent is a perfect way to put it in relationships, because I think as you are working through in any job, but account management in particular, again, because of the human aspect, we need someone who is positive, has the energy that can come into a room and project positive intent and assume it from others, because that's the starting point of trust, I think. With a business relationship, you're coming in cold oftentimes, like meeting a new person who is part of your job, of course, but it's also just a human element. So coming into the room with assuming the best, being positive, looking forward, I think makes a really big difference in establishing the relationship and also navigating any hard things that come. Because, of course, there are always things that come up.
Yeah.
There are challenges in any account management relationship. I think if you're doing it right, there will be hard conversations. And so managing it with optimism and positivity, I think, makes a big difference. Sense of humor. Yeah, not taking yourself too seriously, just being, being willing to show your humanity to a client in forming the relationship.
Can I tell you the greatest account management moment I've ever witnessed? And it's actually from Fred.
Oh.
Yeah. We're at a client meeting, and the hotel we were staying at had this new brand of bottled water. And we're about to start the meeting, and Fred's kind of leading it. Well, I think it was actually one of the guys in his team is sort of leading it, and we're about to start the meeting, and it was with a large financial institution. There's where everybody's kind of settling in, and as soon as everybody sits down and settles in, Fred pulls out the bottle of water, and the brand on the water is Fred in big letters. It's called Fred Water. I'm not making this up. And so he just takes it out and very slyly just puts it on the front of the table like this, and it kind of takes about 20 seconds for sort of everybody to see it, and we all just start cracking up.
Yeah,
and that's how we kicked off the meeting, and it was, as I recall, it was a great meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that kind of
the human element, I think, is good. But the real question is, what happened to Fred Water?
Yeah, that's actually really good. Well,
no.
We came back to the office, and there was a contest to see who could come up with the best slogan for Fred Water.
For Fred Water, yeah. And the winner was, have you heard of Smart Water? This is the opposite of that.
Was it yours? Was that
that wasn't me.
submission?
It was another person we work with who's like a really funny guy. And that just won hands down. And I about cried. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Enjoying the podcast but want to learn more best practices for account management? Pick up a copy of A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Available at Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Within certain industries and within banking, right? Banking can be kind of stressful, I guess, and dry. And so it was always our goal to come in and bring just a little bit of levity, right?
Yeah.
There's a line where you don't get taken seriously, all that kind of stuff, right? So, but I think coming in and having a little bit of levity, I think that's a great thing. And I think that when you mentioned that in account management, things, they get tough, right? And I worked for somebody who kind of had this mantra. He was a CFO and kind of had this mantra of like, when things are easy, I can go get high school kids to do it, right? When it gets tough, that's where you earn your money. Like, and he was pretty adamant about that. And so part of managing a team and working through these tough times is being cool and confident and kind of keeping your composure. I'm sure that's something that you've had to do through time. But as a leader, how do you think about that now? Does that feel a little bit different?
Sure. Yeah, I think one way I look at it, one reminder I try to give myself is that I want to make sure that I am a thermostat in the room and not the thermometer in the room. And I'm sure someone somewhere said that and I heard it, but I don't remember who it was, but it's always stuck with me. In life in general, but like in management also, this is a big one in parenting. So when you're in a room and things are going sideways and the temperatures are rising.
Thermostat meaning controlling the temperature. Sorry, that took me a minute.
You want to control, for those of us who aren't as fast on the example.
I'm really confused.
Thinking about dinner.
We'll explain. We'll explain more. So, when you're in a room and you feel the temperature rising, things are going sideways. This is not good. I think sometimes a leader can like reflect that temperature. So like I'm just a thermometer and I'm just showing like, yep, things are hot. Like it's and they can even like contribute to it. Yeah. I think a thermostat meaning like it's my responsibility to set the temperature in the room. And if it's too hot, I need to bring it down. If it's too cold, I need to bring it up. And I think that begins with just self-regulation because everyone is looking at you. Everyone is looking at me in the room. So I need to make sure that I'm calm and confident and can project that from a genuine place. And I think the second thought I have around it is the idea of building teams with a very high level of trust, because when you operate with a high level of trust within your team, that when things start going sideways with a client, so say one of your account managers is having something go sideways and one of their clients emails the CEO, or sends them a LinkedIn. We've all been there, right?
We've all been there for that one. Yep.
Some sort of situation like that where you as a leader could match the temperature there. Like you're not going to match it. We're going to like regulate it. And then we need to make sure that that team member already knows. It's too late to establish it at this point if you haven't already established it. But hopefully you've established a very high level of trust within your team, your organization, because all energy at that point when things are going sideways needs to be focused on solving the problem. So we're all here together looking at the problem over there, right? So the team member can come to you early and openly and honestly when things are going sideways so that you can tackle it together and not waste any energy on that team member isn't wasting energy on like, how do I
talk to my
message
boss.
this? How do I talk to my boss about this? I need to like kind of defend myself here, explain how we got in this situation. There's always lots of time for retros after the fact, right? Like there's plenty of time for that. It's not the time like when things are going sideways. So I think as a leader, projecting the calm and having your team know that there's like a high level of trust and that you can be trusted in your reaction, not to like raise the temperature, I think helps come to a better outcome for the business and for the client.
Yeah, that's great. And it's because you already hired trustworthy people because you do good hiring. And then, what's the one thing in life that you get more of the more you give away? Yep. It's trust, right? And so you like that one?
I do like that one. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to steal.
I like it.
I'm going to steal. We should steal. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. I really like.
Well, I love it. It aligns.
We've already stolen. I want to say for the record, as many times we said on the pod, account management is a world of gray.
Yeah.
We should acknowledge who I stole that from, Brooke.
I don't know. You probably said it first. I probably stole it from you, then you stole it back from me.
That might be true.
That's probably true.
We all steal things back and forth. You know what it makes me think of? It's just one that I got from you that I've used 1,000 times, which is a pump or a filter.
Oh yeah,
right? That's
a very
it's exactly.
Navy thing. Yeah.
It's a very military thing,
yeah.
for sure. But it's exactly this, right? When the temperature's going up, well, you can jump in.
You
and
can be a pump, and you can make it
and-
worse, or you can be a filter,
and you kind of
right.
step in and
Yeah.
just talk a little calmer and a little quieter and pull it all down a little. Right, us all those things, right? But pump versus filter, thermostat.
Yeah.
Or if it's low
thermometer, I love
energy,
it.
like everybody's not taking it seriously, then you're,
Well,
you're
then
regulating it up.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, sometimes that
Yeah.
happens as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
I like this. How many are we going to steal from her?
I don't know. We got 2 down. So
2 down, so we
probably-
go
I think we
for-
can get to 4 before the end of the pod. So I'm pretty
We
sure.
have another 15 minutes.
Got a goal.
Just talk.
Yeah.
It's you. Just talk. No. So creating calm and confidence. Love that. One of the things that account managers struggle with is balancing relationship building with revenue pressure. It's really interesting because I was just in a conversation this week, and there was a lot of conversation around, and even Elena was talking about it, which is this thing of there's a lot of companies that now have a sales. Then they have this like sort of a strategic account management, which is like the account manager sales team. And then there's an account management function or key account whatever, which is an account management function. I'm curious as to how you think about those things. Do you think that account management and sales can live in one body, or do you think they're better to be 2 different things? How do you?
Yeah. We've done it all different ways.
Right. That's what I love
all
about
different ways. And I think it depends on kind of where you are as a company. So I think as companies and teams evolve, maybe it looks different at different times. But I think the tension is really common. Like I think that is a common tension that account managers feel, especially newer in their career. But I think it's a little bit of a false tension because we're looking at kind of relationship management in an immature way, or like not quite the right way. So I think a lot of times, especially new account manager, can think of relationship management as the client really likes me and they're happy.
Yeah.
I'm not here. I don't have any problems going on. They're
So
happy.
why create one?
Why
with
create
asking for
one?
the sale or asking for more price?
Exactly.
Or,
This
right.
could cause some sort of like uncomfortable conversation, or this could cause them to not want to go to
Not
dinner
like me.
with me next
Right.
time because they think I might bring up some sort of like sales aspect. But I think that's a very shallow type of relationship, to just kind of have someone's not upset with you, right? Someone likes you as a person. But isn't that what they say about like relationships, like marital or otherwise? Like if you actually never have conflict, then those relationships are like doomed to fail because they're like
Then there's
very
no
shallow.
foundation.
There's
Yeah,
no
right,
foundation. So
right.
I think of the account management relationship building versus like business outcomes almost the same way. So if we switch from thinking of good relationship management as like they're just happy with me, there are no issues,
Right.
to like I'm providing real value for them and their organization, then you could see the relationship actually facilitating or like accelerating the business outcomes because you are having a real relationship, which is built on kind of like the mutual trust, and they know they can depend on you, and they know that you're going to be honest with them, and you're going to have the hard conversations. And so I think like a real relationship management is actually not. It doesn't have as much tension with the business outcomes as we might think, but it is common, and so I think you have to train for that. So we do a lot of training around negotiating, how to say no is a good one, all of those things, because it is natural, especially early, for account managers to feel that.
I'm on the other side of the table mostly now. So like so I get the experience that, well, no, not right this moment, Brad. I know you're confused. We're actually catty-cornered to each other, very technically speaking. And so I can tell you for an absolute fact, like the account, I have great account managers that work with me, and I have ones that are not so great. The great ones are the ones who build a relationship, and actually sometimes they can be the most demanding in terms of like, hey, John, I kind of need you to do this. And I'll do it for them, right? Because like, well, first of all, I'm the world's nicest guy, but let's put that aside. But I'll do it because they built that relationship. It's the ones who kind of try not to talk to me. That's where when they come up with something where they get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like
the no news is good news.
Yeah, the no news is good news is actually a bigger problem than the ones who touch base reasonably frequently, but like actually have some not demands in there, but like some notions of I need this from you as well, right? Like
For your
I'm okay
benefit.
with that. Yeah. Well,
Hopefully.
depends on what it is,
Hopefully.
but I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Right. Like so.
So, Brooke, is there who do you credit a person or a process or an experience for the knowledge that you have around account management? Because John and I are deep in the space. Your knowledge and the way that you think about things is a little bit different from a lot of the people that I talk to in a very positive way. And so I'm curious as to like, where did you pick up this body of knowledge?
I have never thought about that question. I think a lot of it is experience. I think a lot of it is been super lucky to have great mentors and managers. I mean, this guy being the foremost at one point in my career.
I knew I was going to regret.
You asked for it.
I knew it.
It's the honest
Actually
truth.
shocked.
It's the honest truth. But I'm not sure. I think
That's why I'll come back to. There's an intuition to it.
Yeah.
I think intuition is a superpower. People often talk about intuition as I think it can get kind of dismissed. Maybe it's a little hokey, wishy-washy or whatever, but it's not a hard science.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I think it's really, really powerful. But you pick up on things and process things in a way that's a little bit different than most of the folks we talk to.
Yeah.
And that is a compliment.
Would you like to take
Might
over?
be
Would you like to
true.
take over the podcast?
Or
No.
the
This
book.
You don't want another thing to
No,
do?
I told
Well-
you guys this will be my one and only.
Oh, okay.
And I give credit. I love to tease John and bust his chops. He certainly was a mentor to me. He's the reason that I moved out of finance and into account management and then into sales, and I've done some of the things that
Yeah,
I've done.
Fred-
So I give him credit, and like I love to bust his chops because that's just more fun. But you mentioned that he was somebody that taught you a few things along the way
Yeah,
as well. so.
absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are too kind, and this is really the opposite of what I was expecting.
He's getting embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
even better.
Uncomfortable.
Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, and you look great.
Really? Do you,
Yeah.
Do you like this?
Svelte.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you like
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. All right, so here we go. What do you think separates then sort of an average account management from really good, right? Like that step, and it's funny because it's almost, I think about that and I'm like, it's probably a really small degrees that go from being pretty good to being like world class.
Yeah. I think it goes right back to what we were just saying with the account managers who are kind of reactive and doing enough to keep the client happy and satisfied. So they're responsive if the client needs something.
Right.
They're doing everything that the client has asked of them versus being really proactive and leaning in and thinking of themselves as like a key piece of their client operations. And I can give the example of the account management team that I lead at Arrive. Kind of our mantra is like we do three things. We retain, that's like table stakes, right? Like we want to keep the clients that we have. So I would put that in the first bucket of like, what does like an average account management do? Like you need to focus on retention. It's important. And it is important because you can't do anything else if you don't retain them. So it's foundational. Then second, we grow. So of course we want the client to grow with us. We want to always be thinking of growth, of course, business outcomes, but that goes also in the first bucket because that's kind of table stakes. The third one I think is what makes the difference, and so it's transform. So we retain, we grow, transform. What does that mean? In our business, as I mentioned before, the mission of making cities more livable, that's what we do. So when we think of transforming, it's really partnering with our clients to be the trusted advisor to do just that, to make their cities more livable, because that's their job, and that's our mission. So coming in, I think the most elite account managers would be able to come in as part of the client's operation and be like impactful there.
Yeah.
Retain, grow, transform. That's the third
That's
thing.
that's three. Yep.
Do you have a pen?
No, I'm telling you, I wrote it. I got it. Yes,
Okay. All
I'm clocking off of this job.
Yeah, okay.
I
All right.
swear
Good.
I
All right.
am. We have
That's
two
good.
more chapters.
I think that's a great answer because it dovetails right with what we were talking about a minute ago. I'll share this with you, Fred, with our audience. The CEO of the company one time said about Brooke's team, "This is our secret weapon."
Yeah.
Right. And because I think particularly for technology companies, everybody wants it to be, a patented, algorithm, it's a thing you thought of. It's or to manufacturing company, it's your process, and, you have all these kind of special things. But, the really sophisticated kind of investors like private equity firms, for example, they actually kind of hone in on this a little bit. They kind of want to know. Like they first of all, they're looking at your retention stats, like they are, just all over that. And so we talk about a lot in terms of trust and, all those kinds of things feel like soft stuff. But man, I'm telling you, when the investors come in, this is what she just said. That's where they're landing, right? Like that's the kind of thing they want to know about.
It directly or indirectly, they're looking at it.
Yeah.
Right. That's all a retention stat is. Right?
Yeah. They're
laser
laser focused on it. And then and there's various flavors of retention stats. One of them is like more, it's sort of retention plus growth. They're looking at that stat 1,000%. So like this stuff is, what you just said, like it really does matter. Yeah.
Yeah. We've hit on everything here.
We have some fun questions.
Well, let them rip.
Let's do it. You want to
Let them rip. You go. You got them.
I want to ask this one.
I'm worried.
What's been your biggest mistake?
I think I mentioned it earlier, is like hiring the wrong profile early. So being really set on industry experience, resume, certain hard skills and experience versus hiring someone that I thought could do the job.
Yeah. Right.
You got to do better than that.
No,
my worst mistake was calling an NFL player small Samoan, and I ended up wearing a grass skirt at a team meeting. We need
like more personal. Okay, like me. Oh my gosh. They're probably
you don't have
probably
to answer that. He's
many.
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna think of that and come back to me.
I'll let you think about it.
My biggest was
you probably have one for me. It's hard to think of it myself.
Not sure I do off the top of my head. I can speak for myself. I remember very clearly. I think I've told this story on the podcast before. I stood up in a meeting. The client was a huge meeting room client, and they published a migration schedule, and we were one of their vendors that had to be part of the migration. They published a migration schedule. This is fanciful. This is before I met you. They published a migration schedule that was just fanciful. It's like, we're going to get this done in 6 months. On what planet? And so I stood up and I basically said as much in front of a room full of people. Because I was kind of relatively fresh from business school, and I was very much in the mode of, I'm the truth teller.
Yeah.
And then I got a lot of feedback. I stood up and kind of said, that doesn't seem reasonable. I don't think we can do that. And, and so it's the person who says the king has no clothes. That's what I did in the meeting. And I got a lot of feedback after that. A lot of adjusting feedback from the client, from my own team, from
rock star.
Yeah.
Rock star status.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we've all had those moments.
I have another question for you, Brooke. What do you think is the most underrated account management skill?
Maybe talking about sports. I think you need to know a lot of sports. And I know this.
Are you good at that?
No, you know this. I'm not.
It's like,
All of
he's
our
such a
clients
jerk.
can tell you.
No, I meant that sincerely because I'm like, I didn't know that about you.
No. The reason I know it's important
Uh-huh.
and it's underrated is because I am not a huge sports person. I like college
Right.
football. I like, when the Olympics or like the World Cup come, then I'm into sports.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like not much. But I like sports are, I feel like one of the top 5, like around the table conversation.
Yeah, trust building, like we're talking about
Trust
something we care
building.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so sports, I've gotten better though.
Oh, you're getting better?
Yeah.
The other thing about sports is there's a global appeal to it.
It connects everyone. It's universal.
Yeah.
Like I really mean that I like needed to learn like a little more. I mean, to the point where there would be teams that were being discussed and I was not sure
The sport.
the sport.
Yeah.
So
I'm not much better than you on
Yeah.
that dimension, but I usually do know the team.
That's
I got
something.
that.
Yeah.
So like yeah.
So now I know, like, okay, I'm going to this city. I need to know, like, what are the big, like, did a game
that's
happen
smart.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Did we win? Did we lose?
Yeah.
You know?
That's smart. And you already said, did we win or lose? Like
Yeah.
that's a smart way to approach it.
Yeah.
See, that's a good tip. What is what's the one thing every account management leader should measure?
I would have to say, like, revenue retention or CSAT, obviously, but something that's like a little less expected.
Yeah.
that I
That is the
think
right. Yes, that is the right answer. But like,
something else I
what's-
think is
what's
like
else?
maybe less expected is turnover within your team. I think it's super important to like hire the right people in, like we said, and then we want them to stay and grow because it's another thing that makes account management a little different is like you can change out many roles behind the scenes in a company and it like doesn't affect your customer. Like
that's
you
a great
change
answer.
an account manager and like really affects your customer.
Yeah.
And the business too, because no matter what you do in terms of like systems and note taking, all that,
Yeah.
like you're gonna lose that.
Every business has an HR person somewhere that's tracking that for the company, but you're making a really good point, which is like as an account management leader, you need to be tracking that pretty close in your team and really feeling it when somebody leaves on their own, a voluntary departure.
Yep.
Because for the aforementioned reason, that's super important. That's crazy. See, that's a good one. See,
So that's another one.
Yeah.
Write it down.
right.
Write it down.
Was that number 4?
That's number 4.
Told
We
you we
made
get 4
it.
things
We
we're totally
made
going to
it.
steal. Yeah. So now we're good.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting.
end here.
I think we're not going to do that. I think it would be interesting to think about how you would bonus. You work that into somebody's bonus, right? So
Yeah.
like your bonus is based on performance, team performance, some sort of revenue attainment, this kind of thing. But that
Well,
retention thing is so
Well,
important.
it's funny you say that. So like I've written a million like account manager, plans. I never put that in there, even though I would want to, like, because, every person I've ever worked for, if you brought that to them and be like, why isn't it 100% revenue? Right. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you never can get that across the goal line. But if you really sat down and thought about this for a long time, that actually would be a part of it for the leader of an account management team. Like, are you retaining your people? Yeah.
You could probably do some regression analysis on that. Draw
that
a little
sounds-
correlation
Oh,
to
let me-
Let
me get
and
out a
we can
spreadsheet
nerd
right
out.
now,
And Brooke, what's your degree in?
Could do that. Public affair. Well, my undergrad degree is public relations, so like communications generalist. I really did not know what I wanted to do in undergrad, and so I remember thinking like, okay, I'll go broad, and then my grad degree is an MPA, and so public administration, and I worked a little bit in like public policy. Thought I wanted to do that in some sort of like NGO or maybe like government organization, which I did for a little while, which, kind of led me to this kind of
Making
job
cities
that I
more
do
livable.
now.
Yeah.
Making cities more livable. So I'm actually, Mom and Dad, using my degree.
Oh, are your mom and dad going to listen to this?
No.
Oh, okay. That would require a different edit. Like we would cut out Fred and I entirely. This would be the.
I'm sure they would want to see you guys.
No, we're not here for our looks.
Hear this
Yeah.
and-
You can watch this on YouTube, but I don't recommend it. It's,
No, I got a face for radio.
Yeah,
so
both of us.
I accept
Exactly. What's left? Did we cover the waterfront?
Well, I think there's one question left, John.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
You're not going to do that?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I need to know what it is.
Well,
need to
actually, I'm
know.
going to relate it to Brooke. Mentioned this before we got started. What other books? What other books are in your book list that you tell account managers to read?
Okay, other books
Other books. Yeah.
besides this book that you guys read. Okay.
Yeah.
I really love Five Dysfunction of a Team,
That's a good one.
and just going back to the like trust and conflict and all of that. I think it's maybe one that I think about.
That's a lot about trust.
most. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Trust and
Right.
relationships. Yeah.
That's a good one. Any others that you would throw in there?
Oh my gosh. Like the culture map. Have you guys
that's a
read?
good one. Yeah.
Is there some telepathy going on here? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what I was
You guys
just
were
thinking.
thinking the same thing.
I was
Yeah.
just thinking that.
Yeah, that's
Another
that's
really
a
good one.
So
I love that one.
For our listeners who, if you're not familiar, and we actually, I was telling Fred before the show, we have a lot of listeners who are overseas. It's a brilliant book that really kind of explicates how different cultures think about business issues differently, and there's kind of 7 dimensions, and the author rates different countries on different dimensions, and it really does explain a lot
Yeah.
about as an American, you have this certain approach to business, and you think the way that you do it that is totally right. So a great example of that is Fred and I talk about this all the time, like bottom line up front,
Yeah.
which for kind of a lot of client stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's not always quite the way to go in certain cultures. That's actually a problem. Like we talk about it.
Yep.
We everything. All of our advice is kind of geared a little bit towards American business, obviously. But the culture map actually will
Yep.
blow your mind about a bunch of those things and kind of re-educate you. Yeah. So highly recommended.
There was a thing on one of the morning shows, and they were talking about a theater outfit called Chicago Boom.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure I get the name, but what it was is a theater from Chicago, so Second City kind of theater outfit, right?
Right.
So the Second City is the feeding ground into SNL. There's a handful of people that are big names you'd recognize if you saw them, right? They went over to Amsterdam and they started an improv comedy troupe there, and the reason they did it there is because that culture does not lend itself to outright laughter.
Oh, so it's a tough room.
Right. So it's
they
a
want-
tough room. So they went there intentionally to work in a tough room night after night after night, but
Yeah.
also to see if they could learn culturally, what works and what doesn't work.
Oh, interesting.
Fascinating. And a lot of big stars went and did it. Like I think David Spade and some of those guys went over there and did it. It's really interesting, but it highlights that different cultures behave differently, and it's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong.
Yeah.
They're just different.
Speaking of that, of improv, a few episodes ago, we had a improv leader from Dad's Garage on this podcast, and so you could probably say a few words, Brooke, about how valuable that experience is for your team if you're an account management leader, bringing that kind of those kind of people in to kind of train your team and why
Yeah.
that's useful.
Yeah, we did it in December the last time. We did it
Really?
a few times, but we did Dad's Garage in December with the team, and it is one of my favorite team building / trainings.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, but it's actually really useful and practical
Useful,
too.
totally
at the
useful.
same time.
Right.
Where it's sometimes you're let's build up a
spaghetti
thing together,
farm.
which is
Yeah.
team building, but not as useful.
Right.
This is really both.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Big
that's
fans.
good. That's good.
Yeah,
that,
recommend.
Okay, that's good. We tried to talk about it a lot on the podcast to get people to do it, and I think it's a weird idea. And talk about stealing. Where did I get the idea from? I think I got it from you.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think you came to me one day and said
okay.
we ought to try this. And as usual, at first I was like,
Fred's drinking
really,
again. That's what he said.
No. Actually, immediately I think it was actually that kind of makes
kinda cool.
sense. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where that comes
I've
from.
done it at 3 different places, and every time you do it, people when they're going into it, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be on
yeah.
Oh,
TV.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
make me.
I gotta
and then
be-
you're
try to be
gonna
funny."
and
Yeah.
all that."
Yeah.
And then when they get done with it, everybody is like, "Holy crap!" And then when they go back to the office, people from other teams will come
Yep.
over to me and "Hey, can you do that again?
Can you do
Would
it again?
Be? And I'm
Right.
like,
yeah. It's
we can
it's
do
like
it.
the world's. Nobody's talking about it in business as training, and they should because it's incredible.
we can learn a lot from the arts.
Yes.
We really can.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered a majority of
Covered
it
the whole
and held you
thing? Oh,
captive
wow.
far too long. Brooke, any parting words?
This was fun. Thanks for having me. I still think this will be my one and only podcast.
Well, hopefully it wasn't too painful.
No, I enjoyed it. I did.
Well, good.
Great job.
Yeah, no, we're glad. We really appreciate you coming on, and we stole 4 things from you that are going to be in perhaps a future edition of the book. So, like, you know,
Hey.
we will not credit you.
Gonna be famous.
Oh
wait, I'm not gonna be
No,
famous.
wait, no,
We'll make you
we'll
famous.
credit you.
We'll get you a
Yeah.
star. We'll
Yeah.
get you a star on the Walk of
100%.
Hollywood.
So, all good stuff. Yeah, thanks again, Brooke. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Brooke. For John Brown, Brooke Feldman. For John Brown and Brooke Feldman, I'm Fred Fuller. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Learn more about the art and science of account management. Pick up A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Digital and print editions available at Amazon or your favorite bookseller. Fred and John would like to hear from you. Leave a comment for us on YouTube and head over to fuller-brown.com for more great content.